Alrighty, we're going to be looking at lesson 6 in unit 3 of code.org. I'm not going to do too many bubbles here because I really want you to get a chance to go through this one and practice it a bit. And if you have any questions, just email me or join office hours and I'll be happy to go through things with you, share screen and stuff like that. But yeah, so this should be pretty short, but I just want to go over one or two really important details from at least the first half of this, and then just a little sneak peek of what's going on in the second half, but I really don't want to give very much away. So these first couple of bubbles are talking about, the lesson overview, video, really good video, code.org videos are great, and then just talking about creating sprites, and then we're on to this first interactive bubble. We're going to look at this one, 6, and then 9, and maybe 1 or 2 from past that, but that's all I want to do for today. So for this bubble, it says creating sprites, and I can switch back to showing blocks. So I got my two little parts of my toolbox here, the world blocks and the sprites blocks. The var sprite equals create sprite creates a new sprite and assigns it to a variable. The default name is sprite. So you'll want to change it to something to make it more meaningful. And then sprites only appear on screen when you draw them there by calling the draw sprites function. And that will draw all the sprites that you created and it'll put them onto the screen. So it says do this. This program includes comments that let you know where to place code, but otherwise is blank. Whoops. Just start this one over really quick. I guess I had already worked on this in the past, even though the bubble wasn't green, so I didn't know to reset it. Add. Yeah. So you want it to look like this. Your program should look like the image on the right. Add var sprite equals create sprite 200 under the comment creating sprites. So over here under this comment, now I could drag the block in right over here, get it attached like that. But I kind of like typing it out. Practicing typing is always good, and just, that's the way I like it. So var sprite equals create sprite at 200. Now, if we just drag the block in, I think we just would have had to click on 200 and 200. You can ignore the yellow triangle warning for now. It's just telling you that you haven't used your sprite yet. So if I hover over this, sprite is defined, but it's not calling your program. Oh, so exactly, right? We made the sprite variable, it's just we're not using it yet. And then add draw sprites under the comment drawing. So under drawing, if I just type out draw, and it gives us some default functions it wants us to use, draw sprites, it should do it. So now we're just going to run our code and see what happens on screen. Looks like we have a matching thing. One thing I'll notice, and this is what they say over here, is if you take a look, we created our sprite at 200, 200, and if I move my mouse around, I might expect 200, 200 to be here, because in previous videos we saw that rectangles were at the top left, but this is 150, 150. 200, 200 is over here. So when you're drawing a sprite, by default, it's making a rectangle. But if you've played video games, especially kind of like older school video games, you might know what a sprite is. It's like an image that you put onto a screen. Oftentimes, like a pixel art image, and then you have a sprite sheet, which is a list of all of the possible things as it animates. Anyways, I'm getting away from myself here. When you're doing a sprite, which we're going to see later in the lesson, how to add images to that sprite. When you're doing a sprite, it's at the center. Its location is at the center, not the top left like a rectangle. Just the way it is. Let's keep moving. We're going to look at bubble 6 as a secondary thing. So this one says, oh yeah, this is a good one to do. This program should create 2 sprites, but it's only drawing 1. You don't need to add any code, just rearrange the code that is already present to make sure that both sprites show up in the picture. So if I run this right now, it looks like it's only drawing the sprite on the left. And what you need to do is you need to remember the fact that when you're when you're running through a program at all, ever, you start at the top line, line number 1, you go down one line at a time. So if we look at it, it says, all right, we made a sprite. We named the variable left sprite, right? I can't name them both sprites. So this is going to be the left sprite. And then they created a sprite at that location. On the next line, we did draw sprites. So cool. It drew that sprite on the left over there. And then on line 3, we said that the right sprite is at, and then we created a sprite at that other location. Now, they said that I shouldn't add any code, but I think if I did this, it would probably work, right? Because I'm creating a sprite drawing, creating a sprite drawing. So if we try resetting and running, the issue is it was draw sprites, not draw sprite. Reset it and run it. Okay, now it's drawn. But if I wanted to do this the way that they asked for it, well, the issue that we had here was I created the left sprite and then I drew my sprites. Then I created the right sprite and I didn't draw anything. So maybe if I just drag this, cut this out, and paste it below, then I'm going to create the left sprite, create the right sprite, store them in those two different variables, and then we draw the sprites all together, and that's what we're looking for. Last thing, and I'll let you try out the rest of the second half of these bubbles on your own. Unless you have any questions, then let me know, and I'm happy to help. This last one over here is just saying, all right, this is how to add images. They talked about it over here in these 2 diamond tabs, but I'm skipping those. You should watch them and read through that, right? That's going to be better information than what I give here. So over on the animations tab, and so just looking, we're over here. We've got our code tab, which has our code and stuff over here in a little, preview area there. The animation tab lets us go in and play around with images that we might add into our program. So we already have an alien here. We already have a bunny. And we have a fly bot. You can click plus and choose different images that you might add. This little dancey guy right over here, alien beige jump one. You can even, just like we did in HTML before, upload images, or you could draw your own, which is super cool. And I do believe this has a way to do sprite sheet stuff where we're doing animations in the image itself. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, all right, animation tab is there. Great. Over on the animation tab, you'll see 3 images that have already been loaded for you. You can get to the animations tab by clicking the animation button like we saw before. Once you have created a sprite, you can use the sprite. So once you've created a sprite or added one to the animation thing, you can use sprite.setAnimation command to change the look of your sprite from a rectangle to that picture. All the images that you've loaded in the animations tab will show up, sprite animation drop down, or as you're typing it, I believe it should start showing up automatically. So start that, boom, alien, maybe not. So this might be a reason. Oh, here we go. So as I do it, now I've got, these are my 4 options. So just, why wasn't it going before? I have open parentheses. It's doing it automatically this time. I don't know. And it'll have the 4 different names of things we have here. Notice that it uses the names that you have over here. So if you upload an image from the internet and it's like JPEG 5733 QSKJ whatever, just go ahead and change the name, right? Alien beige underscore jump underscore 1. Maybe I'll call it I don't know. This guy's name is Cyclops because it looks like he only has 1 eye. And then when you come back over here, and instead of doing alien, we could try doing the list over here, and Cyclops is what we have. Now, if I don't, I can literally type it out, but if I say Cyclops and I try running it, it won't work because the name is not perfectly correct. The computer needs to know the exact name of it. But if we run it, we can see we made a sprite. We created a sprite, stored it as a variable, set its animation. So we do the variable name dot set animation, and then you choose the picture that you want. If I want to switch this over to Bunny, was Bunny one of them? Yeah, then it will set the animation to that, and then when I draw the sprites, it draws it there. Those are the 3 basic ones. I don't think I've given away any puzzles. I've just gone over some of the, other than, well, maybe in Bubble 6, I kind of gave away a little bit of a puzzle problem for you to do. But yeah, just giving you some help in case you were having trouble getting started with this. If you have questions, let me know. I can make another video, or I can do a Google Meets with you and help out. So yeah, I think this video is long. I think I was intending this to be 5 minutes. I think I'm upwards of 10. Ugh. Sorry. Enjoy. See you later.